Have you ever wondered why life feels so much more expensive for you than it did for your grandparents? Why a single income in the 1950s could buy a house, a car, and support a family, but today, two incomes barely cover the rent? You aren't imagining it. And no, it's not because you're buying too many lattes. The truth is, the money in your pocket is broken. There is a specific moment in history when the rules of the game were changed against you. It didn't happen in a war zone, and it wasn't decided by a vote. It happened in secret during a single weekend in August 1971. This is the story of the greatest heist in human history, and the victim was your future. To understand the crime, we first have to understand the lock. After World War II, the global economy needed a foundation. In 1944, the world's leaders met at a hotel in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, and they made a deal. The US dollar would be the world's currency, the king of money. But there was a catch. The dollar had to be as good as gold. The US government promised that for every $35 you held, you could walk into a bank and trade it for exactly 1 ounce of pure gold. This was the anchor. It forced the government to be honest. They couldn't just print endless amounts of money to pay for wars or welfare programs, because if they printed more paper than they had gold in the vault, the system would collapse. For a while it worked. The American middle class exploded, wages rose, savings actually meant something, but politicians don't like limits. By the 1960s, the US government was spending money it didn't have. Between the Vietnam War and massive domestic spending, the printing presses were running hot. America was printing more paper claim checks than there was gold in Fort Knox to back them up. And the world noticed. In the late 60s, foreign nations began to get suspicious. They looked at the mountain of paper dollars flooding the world and looked at the shrinking pile of gold in the US Treasury. They did the math. So, they started calling America's bluff. France was the first to act. They sent a battleship to New York Harbor to physically collect their gold. Other nations followed. They didn't want the paper anymore. They wanted the metal. It was a classic run on the bank, but on a global scale. The US gold reserves were bleeding dry. President Richard Nixon was trapped. He had two choices. His choice one, stop spending, shrink the government, and trigger a massive recession to save the dollar. Or choice two, break the promise. He chose the second option, but he couldn't do it publicly. He needed a plan, and he needed it fast. On Friday, August 13th, 1971, President Nixon told the press he was going to the presidential retreat at Camp David for a relaxing weekend. That was a lie. In reality, he had summoned 15 of his top economic advisors to the retreat. It was a secret high-stakes summit. The atmosphere was tense like a crime thriller. The phone lines to the outside world were cut. No one could leave. Inside the cabin, a battle raged. On one side was Arthur Burns, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. He was an old-school economist who smoked a pipe and believed that breaking the link to gold would destroy America's reputation. He fought to save the gold standard. On the other side was John Connally, the Treasury Secretary. He was a politician, not an economist. He didn't care about history, he cared about winning the next election. His argument was simple. Let's screw the foreigners to save our economy. For 3 days they argued while the world slept. By Sunday afternoon, the decision was made. Connally won. The anchor would be cut. On the evening of Sunday, August 15th, President Nixon interrupted the popular TV show Bonanza to address the nation. He looked into the camera and told the American people he was temporarily suspending the convertibility of the dollar into gold. He sold it as a patriotic move to protect the dollar from international speculators. But what he actually did was turn the US dollar from a verified claim on wealth into a piece of paper backed by absolutely nothing. Nixon said it was temporary. That was over 50 years ago. We are still waiting. So, what actually happened after 1971? The moment the gold tether was cut, the restraint on government spending vanished. If you look at charts of economic data, 1971 is like a crime scene. Before 1971, wages and productivity went up together. If you worked harder, you got paid more. After 1971, the lines split. Productivity kept going up. We have better technology and work faster than ever, but wages, they flatlined. Where did the money go? It was eaten by inflation. When the government can print money at will, the money you save loses value. It's a silent tax. It punishes savers and rewards debtors. It's why housing prices have skyrocketed. Not because houses are better, but because the dollar is weaker. It's why the financial sector has grown massive, while the manufacturing sector has died. We moved from an economy based on production to an economy based on debt. The experiment that started in that cabin at Camp David is still running today. We are living in the longest period of fiat money, money by decree, in human history. But history tells us that no paper currency lasts forever. The volatility we see in the markets today, the inflation eating your grocery budget, the massive national debt, these are all aftershocks of the earthquake that happened in 1971. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to work for the people who print the money. But now you know the history. And if you understand the history, you can prepare for the future. If you want to see the charts, the news won't show you. Make sure you subscribe. See you next time.